Welcome back. We have 3 NFL games on Thursday, and today we're going to dive into our favorite picks. But first off, happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there in the United States that is celebrating. Enjoy your time with your family and friends. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning into these videos each and every morning. Now, first, we had an action-packed episode. We got 3 player props, 2 spread picks, 3 parlays coming your way. We're going to talk about all of the 3 games on Thursday. But first off, let's recap last week. A great week in the NFL. 4-2 on spread picks, 4-2 on player props, and our money line parlay cashes for the second straight week at plus 745 value. We will take that. No complaints from me. If you are new, my name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. I appreciate you for coming out to this video. If you want to go down below, hit that subscribe button. Only takes a second. Drop a like too. It's Thanksgiving. We're going to give out some winners. Hopefully we'll be eating good today or on Thursday. But let's talk about, first off, PrizePicks. Now, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you sign up using our code COS, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. There's also a link down below that helps you enter that code. But not only that, they have a free square live right now. Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the league, to get 1 receiving yard. If he gets that done, which he will cash out one of your legs on PrizePicks. Definitely go check it out. All the links are down below in the description. Underdog Fantasy also has a payout booster. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but sign up for PrizePicks, help support the channel. Let's dive into the first game on Thursday. Bills, Lions, and I'm going to a player prop first. Stephon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills over 89.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on BetMGM. Now, let's talk about Diggs. And if you took his receptions, receiving yards prop last week, he didn't do anything because last week had arguably his worst game of the year. He still scored a touchdown, but only 48 receiving yards on 4 receptions and 5 targets. Now, if you watched or were on social media, you saw he had like a visibly frustrated moment on the sidelines. Head coach Sean McDermott had to calm him down. Stephon Diggs addressed that in some post-game press conference and just said, his emotions got the best of him. But Diggs, I don't expect him to go under 50 receiving yards in a second straight game, and 2 to have 5 or less targets. This is one of the most highly targeted individual wide receivers in the NFL. And prior to that game, the lowest amount of targets Diggs had seen in a game was 6. And following that 6-target game, they said, all right, we got to feed him the ball. He had 8 receptions on 11 targets for 102 receiving yards. That was a game they beat up on the Pittsburgh Steelers, winning by 35 points. Diggs hardly played in the second half. Now, Diggs hit this over in 7 of 10 games this season, and this is a great matchup for him because the Lions allow the 5th most passing yards in the NFL. They've allowed 790 or more receivers this season to get 90 or more receiving yards, and Diggs is one of the best receivers out there. We saw Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both get this done a couple weeks back. I certainly think we'll see a guy like Stephon Diggs with his talent having a down week. I think he bounces back this week. Also, it's worth noting his birthday's up on Tuesday. Josh Allen, feed the ball to him. I think he has a great day. We're taking Stephon Diggs over in receiving yards, 89.5. I played up a couple more yards. I think Diggs has over 100 plus on Thursday. Now, I don't want to pick a spread pick in that game. We'll have a spread pick in the later 2 games. And let's talk about the second game on the slate. Giants, Cowboys. First spread pick of the video. I like the Giants plus 9.5, minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, last week you saw me take the Cowboys. I backed them on the money line. I even said, I think they got a chance of beating the Vikings by 10 or more points. And they did that. They beat them by 37 points, 40-3. And I think a lot of people are going to overreact to, Cowboys to the moon, and they're just going to back them. But these are 2 teams, 7-3, and while some people say, the Giants have an overrated 7-3 record, I'm not here to talk about that. But the Giants and the Cowboys matched up earlier this season. The Cowboys beat them by 7, 23-16. That was with Cooper Rush starting. And unlike Kirk Cousins last week, I think Daniel Jones is going to be able to avoid some of the sacks. I mean, they were getting after Kirk Cousins in half a second. Micah Parsons was all over the field. And Jones coming off one of his worst games of the season. 2 interceptions last week. They lost to the Lions. And I think that's why a lot of people are going to fade them on Thursday. I just don't want to do that. Jones, prior to that game, only 2 interceptions on the year, so he doubled his total. But this Giants offense, I think the game plan here, run the football. The Giants, 4th in the NFL in rushing yards per game. The Dallas defense, been great this year. Great secondary. Unfortunately, the rushing defense hasn't been great. 7th most rushing yards allowed per game. That number's even deflated a little bit thanks to the last week when they only give up 73 rushing yards. But Dalvin Cook had 11 carries in that game and averaged 6.5 yards per carry. He just didn't get any in the second half because they were blown out. If the Brian Daboll and this Giants coaching staff can establish the run, I think they got a chance to stay in this game and potentially win it outright. I know it sounds crazy, but you look back a couple weeks ago. What did the Commanders do when they took on the Eagles? They were, again, 9.5, 10, 11-point underdogs. They just ran the ball, milked the clock, and converted on 3rd downs. I think this Giants team can do that. And the Giants defense, while their defense is middle of the pack in a lot of stats, pretty good at getting teams off the field. Top 5 in 3rd down percentage allowed. They can get Dallas off the field, run the ball into the ground. I just think they got a chance. Plus, it's the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. To my right, you'll see since 2009, that would be the last time they beat a team by 10 or more points on Thursday on Thanksgiving. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. That's been 13, 14 years. I love the Cowboys. I think they're very talented, but I think this is too many points, plus 9.5. The Giants can backdoor this at the end of the game. They could lose by a touchdown to cover this. I think that this is way too many points. Give me the Giants plus 9.5. Let's keep it moving to a player prop in this game. Going to the Dallas Cowboys tight end. Dalton Schultz taking his over 37.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, the starting tight end for the Cowboys, I think he has a pretty decent day. I don't necessarily think he's a guy that you would ladder too much, but I think he's going to have a pretty good game because in 5 games started by Dak Prescott, he's done pretty well, hitting the over in 4 of 5 games. 62, 49, 74, 54, and 22 receiving yards. Now, the 22 was last week. He saw 5 targets, had 3 receptions. Granted, it was kind of more like diverted. They had 40 plus, I think 3 wide receivers had 40 or more receiving yards. You had Tony Pollard with over 100. So it was a weird game. Obviously didn't have to throw in the second half. Now, Schultz is a security blanket for a guy like Dak Prescott. And when Dak Prescott's under center since the start of last year, you've seen Schultz hit this over in 17 of 22 games. Now, the Giants defense has struggled against tight ends, giving up the 5th most receiving yards to opposing tight ends and ranked 31st in DVOA against the position. DVOA is, I believe, a Pro Football Focus number. Ultimately, Schultz has played pretty well against the Giants in his career in his last 3 games against them. 70, 79, and 69 receiving yards, or 67 receiving yards against them. Schultz also 46 yards last year on Thanksgiving. Can he bring home the turkey? Bring home the moolah? I certainly think he can. I really like Dalton Schultz. Great security blanket, a pretty solid tight end. He can get, 4 or 5 catches and just take him for 10 yards. That catch is over. I think he's got a good chance. I think they'll be trying to guard CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and those guys a lot more. Dalton Schultz should have some open opportunities. Great matchup. Really like him on Thursday. Now, moving into the final game of the night, Patriots versus Vikings. It's going to be an exciting game. This is going to be an interesting one. And I'm going to start with my spread pick. I'm taking the Patriots plus 3, minus 115 on BetMGM. Now, last week, like I talked about, we did fade the Minnesota Vikings. This is ultimately where are you? What are you, a fraud? Are you a great team? This is where we're going to find out what the Vikings truly are. And I think the Patriots got them in this one. Now, we think about a Patriots team that is coming off a walk-off punt return win against my New York Jets. That game was ugly. If you were watching Red Zone, you never saw the game come on until the end because that is how bad the game was. But I probably would take this. You want to take this to plus 3. If you want to put them in a teaser, that's fine. I wouldn't take the plus 2.5. This could end on a field goal and get us a push. But since starting out 1-3, the Patriots won 5 of their last 6 games. And I think this defense is just going to be a headache for Kirk Cousins and that offense. The Cowboys put out a blueprint. How do you stop the Minnesota Vikings? Well, you need a guy like Micah Parsons. Well, they don't necessarily have that. They have talented guys on that defensive side, and they have a pretty good secondary as well. But the Patriots defense is the backbone of this team. They want to play defense and run the football. I think they'll be able to do both of those 2 things. And Patriots defense has been stellar. 2nd fewest points per game this season allowed. 5th fewest total yards. 4th fewest passing yards. We know this Minnesota Vikings offense wants to throw the football, and this secondary for the Patriots is very solid. They have a good pass rush with Matthew Judon as well. While the Vikings defense on the other side has been great. We talked about last week. The Vikings has been winning a lot of close games. They lost. The last game wasn't even close. Maybe this one is a closer game, and maybe the Patriots do pull it off. But the Vikings defense giving up the 14th most points per game, 2nd most total yards, 2nd most passing yards in the NFL. I think Patriots show up. It's a big game. I trust Bill Belichick to come up with a game plan to kind of go up against this Minnesota Vikings offense. I just don't know if they're going to be able to turn around just like that in just a couple days on a short week. Like the Patriots coming off a big win against the Jets, I think they keep it rolling against the Minnesota Vikings. I like them plus 3 potentially for a push, or maybe they lose by 1 or 2, or you get a tie, or I like them outright like the Patriots. Now, to wrap up this video before we get into some parlays, player prop for this one. Jacoby Myers, over 51.5 receiving yards, minus 108 on Caesars. This is a wide receiver for the Patriots. Probably play this up to about 55.5. Now let's talk about Mr. Myers, as he did finish exactly with 52 yards last week. So if people take a higher line, would have ended probably on the hook for you guys. But I think he gets over 60 on this game. Now, Myers, he's coming off a very, very tough stretch of games. He's had to face the Jets secondary twice, which has been very good with Reed and Sauce Gardner and guys out there. And then had to face the Colts secondary. And this is the number 1 target for Mac Jones out there. This is a great matchup against the Vikings, as I already talked about. 2nd most passing yards allowed in the NFL. And Myers, over this line in 6 of 8 games, played with Mac Jones this season. So you know Mac Jones, when he drops back, he's looking for a guy like Myers, very trustworthy, guy that doesn't drop a lot of passes, doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, but doesn't drop a lot of passes. And he's going to play over 80% of the snaps. He's hit this over in 4 straight road games. I think with the crowd noise, I think you're going to see Mac Jones just key in a little bit even more on Jacoby Myers. And Myers is that safety blanket. Look, Vikings, like I said, giving up a ton of passing yards. They've allowed 16 wide receivers hit this over versus them in 10 games, and the Cowboys didn't even get a single wide receiver over that. They had 3 guys with 40 or more receiving yards last week. I think Jacoby Myers is probably the backbone of this passing offense for the Patriots. I think 52.5, 51.5. It's too low of a line. I certainly think you can get that done. So Jacoby Myers, go it done. We're riding with you over 51.5 receiving yards. Now, those are all my straight plays. Let's talk about a PrizePicks parlay, then an underdog parlay, and then an anytime touchdown parlay for fun. PrizePicks, like I said, Justin Jefferson free square. Take advantage of it. I'm keeping this one simple. 3 props plus Justin Jefferson. Boom. Putting $20 on it because that's the max you can bet on the Justin Jefferson free square. Payout over 200. Already talked about Jefferson over 0.5 receiving yards. If I could make that a straight play, I probably would. But obviously, I can't do that. But I really do like that one, obviously. It's a free square. Dalton Schultz, Stephon Diggs, Jacoby Myers. All go do your jobs. Let's sweep our props. We're going to bring home $200 plus the units that we already going to make on this or the regular props. As a reminder, don't forget to sign up for PrizePicks using our code COS. 100% deposit match up to $100. Speaking of that same deposit match, you can get that on Underdog Fantasy. They also have a payout boost for Dak Prescott. You take his over or under passing yards, and you can put $1 and you can get a payout of 100x on a booster. That's why you see I only have $1 on that, but that's because the max you can bet on with this Dak Prescott prop is that. But let's talk about my couple legs. And obviously, if you sign up for Underdog, use code COS or the link in the description. 100% deposit match. We have those things. Definitely check them out. Dalton Schultz, Jacoby Myers, Stephon Diggs. Already talked about those guys. Saquon Barkley and Dak Prescott. Now we're taking Saquon's over. A couple reasons. I think Saquon and Dak go hand in hand because I think the Giants want to come out here, establish the run, keep the ball out of Prescott's hands. That's what they're going to have to do, and I think we see a big game from Barkley, and we see Prescott maybe take a dip in passing yards. Prescott had hit this over in 3 straight, still setting it low. I think he goes under in this one. Plus, you never really know with these boosts. They probably anticipate 90% of people to be betting the over for these boosts on like an Underdog Fantasy. Maybe they have some insider info. I don't know. I'm just saying. But I do like Saquon. I think he has a pretty decent day on the ground. I know he's coming off a really brutal game. I think the offensive line steps up because they can't play worse than they did last week. I think they run the football well, and they keep Dak Prescott and that Cowboys offense off the field. They don't get a lot of passing yards from Dak. I like that. $1 to turn into 100x to turn into 100. I'll take a stab at it. It's only $1. We're just having some fun out here. It's Thanksgiving. Come on, let's have some fun. Now, finally, an anytime touchdown parlay. We need 3 guys to score a touchdown, 1 from each game, and we're riding with them. Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions, Saquon Barkley of the Giants, and Ramondre Stevenson of the New England Patriots. Now, St. Brown, he does not have a touchdown in 7 straight games, and I'm speaking into existence. St. Brown getting into the end zone at home against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have a bunch of banged up guys in the secondary. Also, Logan, you guys know Logan from our college football videos, MLB videos. He is playing against Amon-Ra St. Brown in fantasy football, and every player scores a touchdown against Logan. He had to play against Amari Cooper last week, played against the Bills. He had 2 touchdowns. He had to play against Travis Kelce with 3. Everyone goes off against Logan. Amon-Ra's getting into the end zone, breaking off that streak. Saquon Barkley, I think he's going to have a pretty good game if he gets, and they're going to be running the football at the goal line. Saquon's going to be that guy. Matt Breida vultured a touchdown last week. That's not happening again. Saquon getting to the end zone on Thursday. Ramondre Stevenson, another guy, another running back that gets the goal line touches for his team. I think this Patriots team has a good chance to win this one outright. They're going to need a good game from Ramondre Stevenson, especially on the ground. He could take one. He could take a pass too. He can catch passes. He can run it in. I think Ramondre has a good day. Plus 745 on FanDuel. Sign me up. So those are our 3 parlays. Those are our 3 player props. Those are our 2 spread picks. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. PrizePicks and Underdog parlays are those sign up bonuses. Link down below. Go check them out. Sign up. It's Thanksgiving or it's Wednesday whenever you're watching this video. Have a great Thanksgiving if you're watching on Thursday. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Can't thank you guys enough. Changed my life. Thank you guys all so much. I'm thankful for all of you on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I'll be back again tomorrow on Friday for an NBA Best Bets video. Let's have a great day. See you guys back again. PrizePicks, Underdog, all that stuff down below. Let's go sweep the slate. See you guys then. Peace out.